Just listen. I'm sorry what I did to Compton.
You are
I
listening
couldn't help
to
it.
Fire emergency.
Please don't touch this weapon. I'm sorry I killed that girl.
All right, welcome everybody to another episode of the Grim Fix podcast. Yes, we are finally back after Hurricane. What was it? Ian? No, it wasn't Ian, right?
No, it's Fiona.
Fiona.
Ian was
for
in
Florida.
Yep.
So after Fiona, PR had no power, and then what I'm saying?
Hey, he's giving his opinion about PR.
And then after half of you got power, the other half didn't have power, and now you got power, but then it would leave again. I mean, it was like on and off, and finally you guys got stable power.
No, well, not stable fully, but so far it's been there.
And to be honest, me hizo falta verles la cara de culo. En verdad
Yeah.
que sí.
Nah, man, I'm really happy we're back at this. I really missed it. I really did. I really enjoy doing this every week. I mean, so we are back. Welcome back to everybody. Thank you to all those who have subscribed to the channel, who have subscribed to the podcast, who have left us feedback. Thank you. And so let's jump right on this new episode of the Grim Fix podcast. So before we started recording, we were talking about Smile.
Yes.
Charles says that it's good.
It's good. I mean, it's good for a movie that relies on jump scares. It's a really good movie.
We're skeptical.
I mean, I want to watch it. What was the one? It was like 3-4 years ago that came out. Oh my God, what was it? It was with the girl from. You guys ever seen Pretty Little Liars?
Yes.
So
I've heard about it. Never sat down and watched it.
It was with the girl. Oh my God, the one with the big eyes, with the black hair.
Aria.
Yes, it was with her.
That's Lucy Hale.
Okay, do you remember the movie she did? It was a horror movie. I know that. Oh my God,
it was like a Truth or Dare thing. Was it
like
a Truth or Dare thing?
There you go. That was it. Yeah, Truth or Dare. That's exactly what it was. All right. So that movie, I mean, it wasn't the worst. So I'm discovering that the trick is to make your expectations, keep them very low. When you watch a movie, you actually get surprised.
It works.
Because me personally, listen, I don't trust Rotten Tomatoes. I feel like anytime, and I've said this before, but anytime Rotten Tomatoes gives these high percentages in the movies, they usually trash. Most times.
Totally agree.
When they give a low percentage, the movie actually is decent.
I don't even bother with Ryan.
I like watching the audience score, not the critic score. That's the one I usually use. Yeah.
That's on Rotten Tomatoes too. They have that?
Yes, they have the critic score and the audience score. Two different scores.
Check the website. So Hellraiser, right, came out. There's a few things that came out. The time we haven't been on here. Did we all see Interview with the Vampire?
No.
What?
You haven't seen it, Charles?
The series? No.
Well,
after the reviews you guys gave, I'm like, no.
Yeah, well,
no.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm still gonna watch it. I'm still gonna watch it.
So am I, but it's hard to sit down and watch it.
It's just I'm not. I think a second episode already came out this week. I haven't even bothered looking for it. I just listen. I get movies and series are never 100% just like the book. That never happens. Obviously, the books contain way more details. There's more space to add more to it.
Due to time, they cut it short.
So I get that, but Listen, one thing is you cut things out and you might change one or two things because you want to, you got to look at it from the point of view of making a movie. You want to keep the people engaged and whatnot. But when you go and you change story, the characters, their behavior, when you change everything, it's no longer the same story.
Yeah, especially Anne Rice's. You know that she goes all out on details on the characters.
Yeah,
So
man, and it's
that's
like
where it just screws up badly.
I get it. I mean, these people want to follow and they want to go into the whole wokeness of it all, and they want to keep up with the times. I get that, and I agree 100% with inclusion and whatnot. That's fine. But again, when you change the whole structure of a story, again, we've only seen the first episode, but so far in the first episode, there's a shitload of things that don't match up with the books or the movie. So for diehard fans of Anne Rice books, yeah, kind of turns you off. Oh,
a major disappointment.
I found out they're coming out also with the movies of the Mayfair witches.
Really?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I read it last week. Either the movie or a series, one of the two. But they're putting into production.
Nice.
If it's gonna be like this, okay.
I know.
Well, my question is, were your expectations low?
For
Mine
Vampire?
Mine was. I was trying to like have a high expectation.
Well, yeah, it's like I kind of figured once I saw the promo, right? And when I say the promo, I'm just saying the flyer, the poster. I didn't see any video. I didn't see any previews. Once I saw it, I was like, all right, here we go. But it's like I had not high expectations, but I really wanted to have. I really wanted it to be awesome.
So you did have expectations.
So yeah, man. So
that's what happens when you have expectations.
I wanted it to be better than the movie. Well, the movie was okay, but I wanted it, since it's a series and they divide it up, the whole story, they take down bit by bit. I thought it was gonna be a little bit more detailed, more like the book. Even if they change the characters look, even if they change the characters look, that's fine. I can work with that.
Well, I think that's what had me excited. The fact that I was like, oh shit, if they're doing it in the series, that means season 1, right, can have, let's say nowadays they're getting a little lazy and they're only doing 8 to 10 episodes. But let's say if they did 10 episodes, I was like, oh shit, that's like a 10-hour movie. You have time to like put as much details as possible. At least
cram everything in.
Yeah, you can rip out all the action from the book. So I don't understand.
All the action and most of the details of certain parts.
Yeah, man. Like, oh god, I just hope it gets better. As I'm saying, I am gonna keep watching it until I can't anymore. Because if I see 2 or 3 episodes and it's just, I'm like, all right, I had enough.
The one I'm truly waiting for is the Book of Lestat. That's like
the one, man.
I want
that's
a
why I
movie
was so
or
excited.
It would be perfect a series, but
they can easily listen. If Walking Dead ran for like 10 seasons, they can like easily do. They could do at least minimum 10 seasons with these books.
Oh, of course, and they got plenty to go by.
I don't know, man. It's just it's upsetting. So yeah, that's our take on Interview with the Vampire. We will hear Charles' take on it when he finally watches an episode or 2.
When he has the time. Or
I watched also, Hellraiser you were mentioning. I haven't watched it. I'm not a big fan of Hellraiser. And I know you
How
watched
was it? From a scale of 1 to 10.
I give it an 8.
Wow.
That's
bold.
Yeah,
it's bold. Why? Because since if you've seen the first original one, they focus on well, the box and the guy that opened it. That's it. Like basically that's the whole story. But in this new one, they have the whole what they give in the originals that they broke down in part 1, 2, 3, 4. They have it all in part 1 in this one. Like the whole detail behind the box itself, what it's for, what can you get out of it besides, pleasure. That's why. The female Pinhead, good job. I like that.
Wow.
All right, there you go. I mean, I plan to watch it.
Watch part 1, the original, then compare it and you'll see what I mean.
But yeah. Dahmer, has anybody seen it?
I haven't yet.
Oh my god.
After you told me it was kind of boring, I kind of
yeah, man. So Dahmer, we're just gonna touch on this quickly. Obviously, I guess eventually we'll do an episode on Jeffrey Dahmer, which every podcaster out there that talks about true crime, obviously, you have to talk about Dahmer. But you haven't heard our take on it, so yeah.
Weird take.
So I started watching episode 1, and to be honest, halfway through the episode, I was so bored, I turned it off. But then I kept seeing all these reviews. Lobster Boy's best, I don't know, what the fuck is his name? I always call him Lobster Boy.
Evan Peters.
Him. This is his best role. He will forever be Lobster Boy to me.
Lobster. Well, that has to come out.
So, that's from American Horror Story, just in case for those of you who did not.
Evan Peters. He also did Quicksilver.
So true. So I kept reading all these reviews, like, oh my god, is this his best role? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, he's basically playing the same role he plays everywhere. It's just different characteristics, right? So I finished watching episode 1. I was like, all right, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it gets better. So I finished watching episode 1. Then I keep reading. Yesterday I was reading all these people saying that they were traumatized after watching Dahmer.
What?
Really?
So that's what I said. So I kept watching. On episode 6 now, I think it is. Mm-hmm. To be honest, I still don't get it. I don't. And don't get me wrong. I think his story is really interesting. I was actually talking to one of my coworkers today, and he asked me, he goes, oh, have you watched that series Dahmer on Netflix? I was like, yeah, He goes, wow, the way they created that, he's thinking this is a fictional character. And I'm telling you understand that really happened. He goes, no way. I was like, yeah, this is a real person. This actually happened. This is just, they're putting it into a series. So the story, I find it extremely interesting. I don't know. I feel like the series, there's these long scenes that it's just, all right, I get it. We get what's happening, but it's long dragging scenes of nothing. I don't know. To me personally, I am going to finish watching it when I have time.
And I am going to start watching it when I feel like it.
That's what I'm saying. When a season is good, like Yellow Jackets. I saw the first season, or the only season that's out. I saw that shit in one day.
What is Yellow Jacket? This is the first time I ever hear about Yellow Jackets.
So Yellow Jackets it's a girls' soccer team, and I like it because it starts off with action. It's a girls' soccer team, and they're going to nationals or some shit, and they're flying over, I think it's Canada, and the plane goes down. And these girls are stuck there. It's just the few girls that survived. The pilot dies. Everybody dies. There's the coach survives, but he lost a leg, so they gotta carry his ass around. and then these two other guys that were with them, which the father dies, but them two are stuck with the girls. It's still not clear because it gives you a lot of like back and forth, right? Because it starts off, the beginning is basically, I can't say the end because I don't know what the end is going to be, but it shows you already what's happening. So based on what they're showing you, these girls turn into savages.
Oh, wow.
Like they're like eating each other.
Oh.
They're like, they turn into like this
Clear that out.
No, but it's like
eating each other.
Yeah, they turn into like this tribe of like savages where they're like hunting each other down. It's just, it's crazy. It's crazy. So I was like hooked episode 1. And then as you start watching, you see that there's more to it. There's like a supernatural aspect to it. Something happens in that place where they're at, where there's like, they get possessed.
Oh,
there you go. So I got hooked like instantaneously. Episode 1, I was like, holy shit, I couldn't stop watching. So I had watched one episode the night before to, check it out. That was a Saturday night. Sunday, I didn't move from in front of my TV. That's all I watched all day.
Wow.
So yeah.
What's it called?
Yellow Jackets.
Yellow Jackets. I'm gonna check that out.
Abrigo amarillo.
So that's what I'm saying. So you see a series like that, like I started watching also Succession. That's on HBO, I think it is. Mm-hmm. That one's more about like, I'm on to like business and all this shit. So it's something like that, like the greed and the, what is it? Betrayal and all this shit. I saw 3 seasons of that in 1 week.
Oh my.
Wow.
So yeah. That's what I'm saying. So the fact that I've been watching Dahmer since it came out, 2-3 weeks ago, and I'm still on episode 6. Yeah, that says a lot. So anyway. So anything else come out that we can talk about now? Okay, we're still waiting for Halloween that comes this week, right?
Comes out what?
Yes.
Isn't it today? No, tomorrow? Friday?
The 12.
Friday.
Yes.
What?
Friday.
What's the day? Today is...
Oh, yeah, baby.
Wednesday.
Tomorrow.
Well, it comes out tomorrow over here in Puerto
Comes
Rico.
out on what? On Peacock, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to watch that shit on Peacock.
Don't have Peacock.
And, yeah. All right. So let's jump into today's person of interest. We were talking the last time we were together. We were talking about the serial killer that inspired the movie Scream. All right. His name is Daniel Harold Rawling.
Is it Rawling or Rolling?
I don't know. Is it Rolling?
To me, I think it's rolling, right? Rolling, but
if I spell yeah, that's how you spell rolling. Okay, it just sounds weird. Rolling.
Yeah,
rolling. Rolling. Okay, so Daniel Harold Rowling, aka known as what is it? The Gainesville Ripper.
Gainesville Ripper.
The Gainesville Ripper. All right. I don't really know much about this guy. This is all new to me.
Basically, what I have is what I read, except for the partner, which you did not know.
Yeah, well, that you can share. All right, so let's start with the early years, right? The beginning. So Danny Rowling, right? Daniel Harold Rowling. He was born in Shreveport, Louisiana. Today I'm doing a little bit of lazy work. I'm using Wikipedia. So if it's in Wikipedia, it has to be true.
It's true.
I don't use Wikipedia. It's just that I feel like a lot of the articles that I read, like I can quote them right now off head because they were so short. So I feel like this had more information, and I guess whatever's not here we can add off the notes and stuff we have. All right, so he was born in Shreveport, Louisiana. His father was a Shreveport police officer named James Rowling, who told Danny he was unwanted from birth. That's the first red flag right there.
I don't want you no more.
That's fucked up, man. Wow. So it says that James also abused and beat Danny's mother Claudia, and his brother Kevin for frivolous things such as breathing in a way that displeased him.
Wow.
Tell me this. Wouldn't you get pissed off if you hear that?
Or somebody
when
going
they breathe through their nose.
If somebody does that shit, you know, they're like,
She was probably, I'm sorry, can you stop breathing so loud, honey? He's like, breathe quietly.
all right. So anyway, it says that in one incident, Danny's mother went to the hospital after claiming her husband tried to make her cut herself with a razor blade. She made repeated attempts to leave her husband, but always returned shortly. In one example of the senior Rowling's sense of discipline, he pinned Danny to the ground and handcuffed him, then had police take his son away because he was embarrassed by him. Wow.
Embarrassed about what?
That's what I'm saying. But the fact that you have police
breathing.
take him away, so
you don't breathe right.
Get the fuck out of it. Like, no. All right. So it says that in another story, Danny had a dog, but James would beat the dog so often that it died in Danny's arms. Wow.
My.
As a teenager and young adult, Rowling was arrested several times for robberies in Georgia and was caught spying on a woman getting dressed. It was a peeping Tom, too. Look at that. As an adult, he had trouble trying to assimilate into society and hold on a steady job. At one point, Rowling worked as a waiter at Pancho's restaurant in Shreveport. Pancho's.
He should be arrested just for that.
So, yeah. Pancho's.
Pancho's. The peeping Tom and worked at Pancho's.
Probably a Mexican restaurant. I mean, I'm not trying to be racist or anything.
No, but it's still a Hispanic restaurant. It don't matter which one it is, if it's Mexican
Pancho's.
or not.
So, all right.
Over the fact of Pancho's.
So far we have the typical story, right? That we have, the abusive father. I feel like the father, parenting obviously plays such a big role, but it's usually the common theme is like the parents, the dad usually is like very abusive. All right, so I don't even know where to go with this.
Oh.
It just jumps straight to like the serial killing.
Yeah, basically. That gave you basically everything that happened to him. You know his whole routine then. Getting beat up by his father, dissed on and whatnot. Hey, you're going to end up being an asshole.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of these, I remember like
beat my dog.
That's fucked up. The fact that he beat his dog and then it dies in his arms.
Mm-hmm.
No wonder he ended up working in Pancho's.
He probably had a chihuahua.
Okay, so in August 1990, Rowling murdered 5 students. 1 student from Santa Fe College and 4 from the University of Florida. During a burglary and robbery spree in Gainesville, Florida, he mutilated his victims' bodies, decapitating one. He then posed them, sometimes using mirrors.
Wow, what does he get out of posing them?
I don't get it. Like using, what do you mean using mirrors? Like,
I'm guessing that he would just, it's hard to explain. You know how some girls take pictures in front of mirrors?
Yeah.
I'm guessing they use that illusion. I'm not sure. I'm guessing
like
that's
weird.
It is. You know, I don't know. Maybe put him on the bed, put the angle of a mirror.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
just weird.
All right. So on August 19th, oh, I said that already. In the early morning hours of Friday, August 24, Rowling broke into the apartment shared by 17-year-old university freshman Sonja Larson and Christina Powell. Finding Powell asleep on the downstairs couch, he stood over her briefly, but did not wake her up, choosing instead to explore the upstairs bedroom where Larson was also asleep. Rowling murdered Larson, first taping her mouth shut to stifle her screams and then stabbing her to death with a Kill3r knife.
Yeah,
She died
I
trying to
actually
fend
have
him
one
off.
of those.
A Kill3r knife?
Yes.
You looked that up.
You remember when the one that Dad has? Well, he had.
Nope.
Remember that? You know, I have a collection of knives.
Yes.
A Kill3r knife, yes.
It's like, it's not straight in the tip.
It was like a Rambo knife, right?
Exactly. All right. Well, sort of.
It's the one with the little thing at the end, with the little curve at the end.
No. It's like it cuts down slanted.
It's a Rambo knife without the, you know, the Rambo knife has like the teeth in the top, like a saw,
yeah.
Without that. Okay, so with a Kill3r knife, wow. All right, so she died trying to fend him off. Rowling then went back downstairs, taped Powell's mouth shut, bound her wrists together behind her back, and threatened her with the knife as he cut her clothes off. He then raped her and forced her face down onto the floor, where he stabbed her 5 times in the back. Rowling posed the bodies in sexually provocative positions. He took a shower before leaving the apartment.
The balls.
The balls. Major balls. Man.
I always think of that. I always say, like, these people commit these crimes, and the fact that they're so calm about it, like they're not rushing out. Let me just take a shower, you know.
Hey, let me go have a donut.
Yeah, like I think about, I always think about this, like, yo, how, I mean, and I think about that in crime in general. When you see people like do robberies or whatever, and it's like they're like, they just walk off like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I think
or probably he knows what he's doing. You know, he's not gonna go in and screaming and yelling and covered in blood. Like
he knows what he's doing.
Gonna take a exactly.
I'm telling you, this guy really knows what he's doing. When he does it so calmly, I guess he knows. You know, he's one of those criminals that have that timing. Like, well, cops will be here like in 5 minutes. I have that much time. You know, that kind of perspective. A day later on Saturday.
So it says a day later on Saturday, August 25th, Rowling broke into the apartment of 18-year-old Krista Hoyt, prying open a sliding glass door with a screwdriver. Finding she was not home, he waited in the living room for her to return at 11 a.m. Hoyt entered the apartment and Rowling surprised her from behind, placing her in a chokehold. After she had been subdued, he used duct tape to gag her mouth and bind her wrists together behind her back and led her into the bedroom, where he cut the clothes from her body and raped her. As in the Powell murder, he forced her to lie face down onto the bed and stabbed her in the back. Wow. Rupturing her aorta. He then flipped her body over and sliced her abdomen open from her pubic bone to her breast. Holy shit.
Yep.
To her breastbone. After arriving back at his campsite, Rowling could not find his wallet. I think he probably dropped it in her.
Oops, my wallet's fell.
Oh my God. So thinking he may have lost it in the murder scene, he returned there, at which time he decapitated Hoyt. Damn. Posed her body in a sitting position at the edge of her bed and placed her head on a shelf facing the corpse. He later claimed his intent was to add the shock of whoever discovered her.
Wow.
I mean, like the slicing of the abdomen is not sharp enough.
I know, right? Like, yo, he
made of a JJ just longer.
that's
Yes, I mean
insane, man.
that thing reminds me of a line from Scream, actually, when Sydney says, "How do you gut someone?" And then Stu says, "You take a knife and then you slice them open from the groin to the sternum."
How do you gut someone?
You take a knife and you slit them from groin to sternum. Hey, it's called tact, you fuck rag.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, that's a gutting someone.
Basically, that's what. Well,
wow.
no, what
I'm
shocked
still like
me
in
more
shock
that
with that.
he loses his wallet and has the audacity to go back.
I mean,
and
he
look
has
good.
to. I mean,
Well, yeah, but
yeah.
after you do shit like that, you don't want to go back. I get it, yo. You don't want to get
you
caught,
don't want to be
but
discovered, dude. I
you
mean,
know
of
what
course
it
I'm
is?
going back.
You're driving off. Let's say you're driving off, right? You get like halfway down the block, or give it take five blocks down, and you're like, oh shit, my wallet. And you drive back all calmly, go upstairs,
Yeah.
open the door, get your wallet, and have time to cut off the head and set up a nice pose just to scare the shit out of the person who finds it.
That's insane, man.
Who carries a wallet while while planning to kill someone? I mean, like,
yo, if you're gonna carry a wallet, have the chain.
Nah, man, it's just shit, man. All right. So by this point, the murders had attracted widespread media attention. Many students had begun taking extra precautions, such as changing their daily routines and sleeping together in groups. Because the spree was happening so early in the fall semester, some students withdrew their enrollment or transferred to other schools. Tracy Pauls, who was 23 years old, was living with her roommate, Manny Taboada, also 23. On Monday, August 27, Rowling broke into the apartment by prying open the sliding glass door with the same tools he had used previously. Rowling found Taboada asleep in one of the bedrooms and killed him after a struggle. Hearing the commotion, Pauls went down to the hall to Taboada's bedroom and saw Rowling. She attempted to barricade herself in her bedroom, but Rowling broke through the door. Rowling taped her mouth and wrists, cut off her clothing, and raped her. Before turning her over and stabbing her 3 times in the back, Rowling posed Paul's body, but left Taboada's in the same position in which he had died. Interesting.
Not is because he wasn't a female. He'll pose the females only. I could imagine him just taking a selfie. Posing, hey, click.
Listen, if it would have been during this time, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yep.
Just like as a trophy,
One
like,
of the
I need to
Polaroids.
take a picture.
Yes.
Man. This guy used to do that, the BTK killer.
Really?
Used to do Polaroids, yeah. Fucking guy. I mean, we'll talk about that in another episode, but this fucking guy would actually photograph his victims, right? He would pose them, take pictures, Polaroids. He would also go to so he was like a camp counselor. Aside from everything else he did, he was also like a camp counselor. This fucking guy would steer away from the campsite, go into the woods, dress himself like in either women's like a nightgown. He would tape his own mouth. He would tie his own feet. He would set up the camera and pull himself up like through the feet to take pictures like if he's torturing himself.
Hey.
I'm telling you, this guy, he would dig a grave and just pose in the grave and take pictures of himself like he's being tortured. Like BTK killer coming soon. Okay, so with the exception of Taboada, all the victims were petite white brunettes with brown eyes, like Rawlings' mother. So although law enforcement initially had very few leads, police did identify two suspects. One suspect was Edward Lewis Humphrey, a University of Florida student who had a history of mental illness and bore numerous scars on his face from a car accident. Humphrey was arrested after a physical altercation with his grandmother and held in custody for 5 months until a grand jury refused to indict him on the murder charges, citing insufficient evidence. Humphrey's photo was shown repeatedly by media outlets. Authorities publicly cleared him of all charges after Rawlings' arrest. The other suspect was also later cleared. So basically, they had two suspects and they were both the wrong person.
Mhm. That's justice for you. That sounds like here.
What do you mean?
Justice here.
You mean PR?
Yeah. You know how crappy it is here?
I feel like PR, like, you never hear that there was a crime solved.
No, it's
Am I
always like
wrong? Like,
no, you're right. Even though they did close one right not too long ago. This girl was like totally dismembered. And the guy, I mean, he placed her in different parts. He had parts in the suitcase.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Right? And they caught
Yeah.
the guy.
that was
He
the guy that was from out here. He was from the States, right? And he
right.
had gone to
exactly.
PR.
And he killed. It was some guy in the military.
But that's what I'm saying. I feel like only cases that have very widespread media coverage are the only ones you hear about that were solved, that they caught the person.
Not even. What happened to Rolandito?
Yeah, I know, right? Where is Rolandito?
Where is Rolandito? What happened to Lorenzo?
Yeah, that's
the case.
there.
I was obsessed with that case for years.
No, I got over it.
I was obsessed with that case because I was like, yo, what the fuck, man? I still think it was a mom, but
yes, but
that's where it points. What?
yeah. So yeah. All right. So okay, so Shreveport murders and tip about Rawlings. Okay, so Louisiana police alerted Florida authorities to an unsolved triple murder in Shreveport on November 4th, 1989, right? So these other murders were taking place. This was what, 1990. Okay. So 1989, detectives noticed that there were similarities between the Gainesville murders and those of 55-year-old William Grissom, his 24-year-old daughter, Julie, and his 8-year-old grandson, Sean. The family had been attacked in their homes as they were preparing for dinner. Afterwards, Julie Grissom's body had been mutilated, cleaned, and posed. So Don Maines, an investigator on the case with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, traveled to Shreveport in November 1990. Because of similarities between the murders committed in Gainesville and murders committed in Shreveport, they included posing of the victims, tape residue on victim's body, and vinegar used to clean the body. Maines said they tested the body fluids from the perpetrator in Shreveport and found that this person also had type B blood. He called the match to the evidence in Gainesville a revelation in the case. Shortly after Maine's trip to Shreveport, a Shreveport resident, Cindy Juracich, but it's written Juracich. Juracich called Crime Stoppers and reported that Danny Rawlings was possibly connected to the murders in both cities. 3 months earlier, in August 1990, Juracich heard a news report about a string of murders as she traveled through the Florida Panhandle. The report made her think about Rawlings, whom she met at her Louisiana hometown church, and his possible link to these 3 other Shreveport murders. Rawlings had said deeply disturbing things to both her and her then husband, Stephen Dobbin. He'd come over every night for a while, and then one night Steve came in and he goes, "He's got to go." Jurassic said, "Wait, what?" Steven came in and he goes, "He's got to go," Jurassic said.
Hey, you gotta go.
She also said that Dobbin told her that Rowling had told him he had a problem. I said, "What kind of problem?" Jurassic said. And Steven said, "He's like too sick. He's like too, like, he likes to stick knives into people." Okay. Jurassic said she dismissed these comments when she heard about them because she didn't want to believe Rowling could be responsible for the murders in Shreveport. Danny had also told her, "One day I'm going to leave this town and I'm going to go where the girls are beautiful and I can just lay in the sun and watch beautiful women all day." News on the Gainesville murders haunted Jurassic. So she finally contacted police in November based on her hunch about Rowling's connection to the murders in both cities. "It would not let me rest," she said. "One day I picked up the phone, I called Crime Stoppers and said, 'I think there's one guy y'all need to investigate. Danny Rowling.'" Bum, bum, bum. All right, so okay.
You know the irony of the whole thing, that his mother, the
Mhm.
mother of Danny Rollins, she had sought to get Rollins psychological care several times, but her husband said nothing was wrong. You know, she wanted to help him out since he was a kid. He could have been a good guy,
Yeah.
but the father said, "No, screw you. He's okay."
A lot of these cases, I'm telling you, when you start digging into them, even the whole Dahmer case, like they knew something was off, but they never looked into it. They just let it be. They just chucked it up to, oh, he's weird or whatever. But, Dahmer was one that he was always like in his room, always by himself, always like, kept to himself.
But I
Super
was
awkward.
like that.
Huh?
I was always in my room. I was most of the time by myself. You don't see me killing and posing people.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. It's like I'm assuming it's like, so think about this. When we choose to be alone, right? But we have, like, you grew up around people no matter what.
True.
Right? You didn't really seclude yourself. So if we look at society right now, this is why they're blaming COVID for so much of the crime that's happening now. Because they're saying like people were locked in for periods of time, right? That they weren't used to doing that. I mean, I don't know about Puerto Rico. I can speak about New York and what I saw in LA. It was weird. Like New York was weird. Like, I don't know if you remember me talking to you on the phone and telling you like, yo, they saw coyotes around my neighborhood.
Yeah, that type of I Am Legend.
That's what I'm saying. Like shit like that wasn't normal. Like around where I live, you don't see animal. I mean, you might see a skunk during
And that's still weird.
season changes of winter to spring and like fall to winter. You'll see them come out, right?
Yeah, and it's still weird,
Yeah.
down in the Bronx.
You'll see raccoons. You'll see squirrels. That's about it. All of a sudden, I mean, fine, you can see this upstate New York, yes. But in the city itself, you won't really see a deer. You won't see coyotes. You won't see possums. This is all shit that was being seen around my neighborhood. So that just tells you how there was nobody in the streets.
Yeah, everybody was doing it.
So that's what I'm saying. So they're saying, and I mean, I can believe it to a certain extent, that with all this seclusion, all these people like in their house, it fucked with their head, which is why now again,
I can relate. I can relate.
but that's what I'm saying. Like now, it's like now you see all this crime in the city as things start opening up, and people are going back outside. Now you see again. I can believe it to a certain extent. I don't condone a lot of the nonsense that goes on, but I can believe that some people did forget how to act. So I don't know about this guy, but I'm talking about we were talking about Dahmer. That seclusion is what, as he got older, now he's in high school, now he's being exposed to more people. It's like he was very weird about it. And I mean, something that you see in Dahmer is he had, and I'm assuming it stems from his mom leaving and whatnot, but he had issues with that. It's like he chose to be alone, but when he had somebody near him, he didn't want them to leave him. And part of that is what drove him to like his first murder. So anyway, I digress. So all right. So one Florida investigators realized that Rowling had multiple convictions for armed robbery. They realized he could also have been responsible for the bank robbery that occurred on the day Krista Hoyt's body was found. They returned to the evidence locker where the gun, screwdriver, bag of money, and cassette player had been stored and listened to the tape. They also found tools matching marks left at the Gainesville murder scenes. The small camp where he had been living was in a wooded area near apartment complexes frequented by students. Investigators discovered audio diaries he had made alluding to the crimes. Later, it was discovered that on August 5th, 1990, Rowling broke into the home of Janet Frake in Sarasota, Florida. He bound and gagged her with duct tape while he sexually assaulted her, but spared her life.
Like eight murders, I think he had.
What?
I think how many murders did he have in his hand?
Wasn't about
what,
eight,
eight
yeah,
of them?
right?
Like eight or so, yeah.
So in November 91, he was charged with 5 counts of murder. So they charged him with 5. He was brought out to trial. He was brought to trial nearly 4 years after the murders. He claimed his motive was to become a superstar, similar to Ted Bundy. In 94, before his trial could get underway, Rowling unexpectedly pleaded guilty to all charges.
Okay, so he was killing people because he wanted to. He wasn't traumatized or anything.
Yeah.
He just wanted to be famous.
Hey,
pretty
let me
much
just go kill that person.
That's what I'm saying. The fact, I mean, I totally believe that, because the fact that you turn back for your wallet and you split this person open, and then you're like, you know what? This is not shocking enough. Let me do this. I'm gonna chop her head off. I'm gonna pose it here so it's looking at the body. Yeah, I totally believe this. Pleaded guilty to all charges. Subsequently, State Attorney Rod Smith presented the penalty phase of the prosecution. During his trial, Court TV conducted an interview with Rowling's mother from her home, during which his father could be heard shouting off camera. So this guy was such a piece of shit, he couldn't even control it for the camera.
Probably he was screaming, "I told you I hated his breathing."
Yep. I knew he fucking breathed weird. On April 2094, Rowling was sentenced to death. Rowling was diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, and paraphilia. What's paraphilia? Let me look this up quickly. Paraphilia is the experience of intense sexual arousal to atypical objects, situations, fantasies, behaviors, or individuals. It has also been defined as sexual interest in anything other than a consenting human partner.
Now you tell me what object can make you aroused.
So he only got aroused when it was like not
Raping.
yeah, like
Raping.
When they don't
The
want
rape-
it.
the
when they
raping
know
thing,
you're
yeah.
not supposed to do it, basically.
Yeah, I guess it's that adrenaline.
Interesting.
The adrenaline.
So shortly before he was executed in Florida for the series of killings in Gainesville, Rowling claimed responsibility for the Shreveport murders, handing his spiritual advisor, Reverend Mike Hudspeth, and Florida police a handwritten confession and apology. In a written statement made shortly before his execution, Rowling confessed to the murders of the Grissom family in Shreveport. Rowling had a last meal of lobster tail. He sang a gospel hymn, but made no statement immediately before his execution, which was witnessed by many of his victims' relatives. Rowling was executed by lethal injection in Florida State Prison on October 25th, 2006, after the Supreme Court rejected a last-ditch appeal. He was pronounced dead at 6:13 p.m.
He tried to kill his father. He
That's what I'm saying,
shot
but they
him.
don't have that here. He what?
Okay, you know, he shot his father. Let me see where I got it. Okay, James Rollins' father of Danny Rollins and Sheriff. You already read that, so we all know that he was an abusive father. He was abusive to his family and his wife. We all know that. During a family argument in May 1990, his son Danny shot him in the stomach and his face. James survived. Lucky son of a bitch.
Jeez.
But he permanently lost the use of an eye and an ear. Eventually, he and his wife separated, and she passed away from liver cancer in 1995, and James died in December 2012.
The father. So the father outlived them all.
Yeah, that asshole. And the irony of the whole thing, maybe she did or maybe she didn't. Do you know about Sandra London?
No, who's that?
She's a controversial American true crime author. She was the one-time girlfriend of the convicted murderer and suspected serial killer G.J. Schaefer and the fiance of the convicted serial killer Danny Rollins.
So she was his fiance?
Yep. So you know she made a whole lot of money with this story. I'm guessing. My opinion. You know? He had like the inside story of the whole shit.
Word.
So now that you have written, now that you have read all the things that dude did, you can find the similarities in the movie and what he did, right?
Yeah, I don't see any. Besides
What
the fact
do you
that
mean?
he killed. Okay. Besides what you said, that line that they used, and what he did, fine. And the fact that he killed students, fine. But I don't see nothing else in there. They never posed.
The taping of the mouth. I mean, sneaking.
Okay, yeah, but you know, one of the drastic things was the posing.
First of all,
the stalking.
The screenwriter, Kevin Williamson, he wrote this script. He had started writing a script, right? And he was house sitting for somebody. And he saw they did like a little, I guess like a news clipping, like type of documentary of the murders while they were happening.
Mm-hmm.
So they did a story about him, and he was watching the story on TV, and he actually got scared, and he decided to call his friend.
What's that?
Oh no! So while he's calling his friend, he was scared. So he's like checking the house while he's talking to his friend on the phone. So all of that, plus the fright, plus the way this guy was killing, was what inspired him to write the script.
Still, what inspired him to get that happy face?
So no, that's why the ghost face, that was just something that was added for the movie purpose. So the original script was called Scary Movie.
Scary Movie. Yep.
So yeah, but why didn't he put this? Because the only thing it says here, like Rowling has been the subject of several written works. His crime spree inspired screenwriter Kevin Williamson to pen the script on the 1996 slasher film Scream. Sandra London collaborated with Rowling on the making of a serial killer, the true story of the Gainesville murders in the killer's own words. Rowling is a subject of the book Beyond Murder by John Philpin and John Donnelly. Author Kevin Given admitted that he based the serial killer David Reynolds from his novel Foul Blood on Rowling. A 2007 independent feature film titled The Gainesville Ripper, based on accounts of the killings, was shot in the Gainesville and Jacksonville, Florida areas. In the film, Rowling is portrayed by Zachary Mimos. Rowling was also the subject of an episode of Body of Evidence from the case files of Dale Hinman, a court TV show transmitted as Crime Scene USA, Body of Evidence on Discovery Channel in the UK, and an episode of Forensic Factor titled Killing Spree, which originally aired on Discovery Channel Canada and was rebroadcast in America on the Science Channel. Rowling was the subject of a 2010 episode of Cold Blood and briefly was mentioned in a 2012 episode of Motives and Murders titled Not Again. He was featured in a 2015 episode of Nightmare Next Door.
It's a really good show, by the way.
Nightmare Next Door. I've never seen that.
Yes, it's.
Where's that? Is
I think it's
anywhere?
I think it's on Hulu, I believe.
Damn it, Hulu.
Him and Hulu.
Yes. I think it's on Hulu. Yeah, because they have all that ID discovery thing, investigation discovery thing, channels. But it's a really good show.
That's something I would like to watch. Yes.
Yes, it's real cases, and they like do the reenactments and stuff, and usually it's the person that you least expect.
I gotta watch that. In 2013, the TV documentary series The Real Story aired an episode profiling the movie Scream. It aired July 28, 2013, and tells the story of Rowling's murder in graphic detail. The book Drifter is based on the 1990 Gainesville murders. The song Harold Rawlings' hymn from the 2007 John 5 album, The Devil Knows My Name, is inspired by Rowling.
I had to look up that song. I looked it up.
You looked it up?
Yes, I heard it. It's not like a singing song. Nobody sings. It's like a more of an instrumental thing, but I heard it. It's like a rock song.
An episode of Murder Made Me Famous, which aired November 24, 2018, chronicled the case. The premiere episode of Mark of a Killer, titled Pose to Kill, documented the case. Damn. In 2020, WUFT News released a television special and podcast special chronicling thoughts on the case 30 years later, titled 4 Days, 5 Murders. In 2021, an episode of the ABC primetime true crime television series 2020 aired the murder case. On January 14, 2022, Discovery Plus premiered the paranormal documentary Scream, The True Story, starring Steve Shippey and Cindy Kaza. Shippey and Kaza conduct a paranormal investigation in Rowling's childhood home in Shreveport, Louisiana. While on death row, in a Florida state prison, Rowling wrote songs and poems and drew pictures. His works are an example of murderabilia. Murderabilia, just in case, is also known as a term identifying collectibles related to murders, homicides, the perpetrators, or other violent crimes. The term was coined by Andy Kahan, director of the Houston Police Department's Crime Victims Office.
So Sheepy was looking for ghosts on Rolling's
That's what I'm
house.
saying. It's kind of stupid, right? Shippy and Kazaa,
Huh.
they were paranormal investigation rolling shower home. Did anybody die there?
To see if he was possessed or something.
But it's not,
What are they looking for? What are
what
they
are you
looking
looking for in the
Like,
house? Like, he didn't kill anybody there. He didn't die there. Like, who are you talking to? Oh God. Yeah, I hate it when people do that shit. It's like you just you're trying to ride the wave. Cut it out, Shippy.
but it has like been like on a lot of media coverage. It has a lot of media coverage actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, that movie.
The slasher movies were dying. I mean, the Freddys and the Jasons and the Halloweens. They were like,
that movie was. It's just the first one was so great. I mean, it was.
yes,
It was just the whole twist to it is what really got me. Like, I went to theaters to see it. And I remember I went to see it without even knowing what the movie was. I went because a friend of mine invited me. Like, oh, let's go. And
the graphic, the graphic of it all for a '96 movie, it was really graphic.
Yeah, man, and just the whole, yeah, like everything. It was just such a great movie. I
Just watching Drew Barrymore getting stabbed like that, like you go like, whoa, wait a minute.
I just wish they would have left it at part 1.
That's where
True.
it gets me. They should have
That's
just
where
left
they
the
killed
one,
it. They
and
kept
that's
adding
it. When
parts, and they
doing...
kept adding parts, and it's like the more parts they added, it just got worse and worse and worse. Just like Saw. I think Saw is such an amazing movie. Saw part 1. Then they added part 2, and the excitement of, oh shit, yeah, part 1 was so great. You watched it, okay. And then they part 3.
Yeah, but you know what? What really drew people to those movies were the traps.
Goriness.
The goriness and the traps. You know, what was the next trap? You know,
that's what people want to watch.
How's the next person gonna die?
People don't care about the stories.
By the time 3 came out, that was done. I was like,
they could have left it at 2. You know, they could have left it at 1, but if they wanted to make another one,
yeah, maybe part 2. That's it. Okay,
you know?
it wasn't as good. All right, let's just leave it. No, but then they kept adding
they did this.
more.
What they got this other one called Spiral.
What's that?
Yeah, the book of Saw. With,
yeah, I think this guy's in it.
Chris Rock.
Chris Rock.
Yes, and Samuel L. Jackson.
Exactly. No, but Samuel L. He does. I like him as an actor. He does.
Yeah, I like Samuel L. Jackson.
But Chris Rock, I'm used to seeing him in comedy.
In comedies, yes. You know what series reminded me of Saw? Squid Games.
I still
Squid Games reminded me of Saw. Well, I was gonna tell you something, but I'm not gonna spoil it then. You gotta watch it.
Los Juegos del Calamar.
Oh my god, that sounds so terrible in Spanish. It makes me want to hate it.
It's really good.
Daniel Harold Rollito.
Oh my god.
Ponchos.
Wow, you had that delay. You had that delay in laughing.
The fuck is Daniel Harold Rollito?
Trabajaba en Panchos, güey.
Pancho.
Oh my god! But yeah, wow. So this guy actually.
Did you see the memorial? The picture of the memorial?
I haven't seen it.
Whose memorial?
On Wikipedia. It says memorial to the 5 students on the 34th Street wall in Gainesville, first painted in 1990. It says the names of the.
Oh
victims.
yeah. We can put that up on the video. If you're watching us on YouTube, you will see it. So yeah, that was Daniel Harold Rolling. The serial killer that inspired Scream and a whole shitload of other things. Because wow, this guy inspired a ton of shit.
Yep.
It's
funny how people gain immortality by doing these type of things.
Yeah, that's why he wanted to be famous, and there you go.
Like Ted Bundy.
He got it. He became famous. He became immortalized because
Everybody talks about it.
If the internet wasn't a thing, he probably would have died anonymously. Maybe people from his town would know who he is, and that's it. But because of the internet, because of people like us, also that we look into stuff like this, and this is what we talk about, is what the podcast is about. They just get more fame and notoriety.
Yeah. And writers like Kevin Williamson that takes these ideas and make them into a $1 billion movie.
Damn, man. Fucking guy, man. Shit.
I want to write.
I know, man. Writing a script is not easy.
No, I've been trying. I started writing that big one. Remember the big?
It's not as hard if you have them. I think the hardest part is coming up with the idea. Like if you have the idea, like there's softwares out there and there's programs that you can use that actually, like I wrote a script. I was writing a movie, and I actually have the script here, and I was basing it, since I didn't have a great idea, I was basing it on myself, on my life story, and then I was changing things and the names of the characters and whatnot. But again, I think the hardest part is just having the idea, and then when you have one of these softwares that helps you write a script, you're just basically filling in the blanks, and then you just you start adding stuff to it. I mean, it's not as hard as it seems.
Or you have the idea, but you don't know how to put it into words.
Yeah, that's my problem.
Well, that's why a lot of these people, like they have, there's more than one writer. Like somebody takes the credit, but there's usually somebody else that like helped. Because again, maybe your strength is the ideas, and that's my weakness, right? And maybe my strength might be expanding those ideas. And that's why it's good to, when they do group writing and, all these shows that they have tons and tons of writers, it's because of that. Because somebody might come up with a concept, and then it's like, oh, but we can add this and we can add that. And, so yeah. There you go, people.
There you go. Rollitos.
Yeah. So before we leave, I want to thank everybody who was listening to us still at this point. If you're watching us still at this point, that was a great time to subscribe to the channel, like the video, drop us a comment. Any type of information that we didn't share that you might know that we didn't. I mean, we don't claim here to be experts on this. It's just something that we like to talk about and read about, and we discuss it. That's it. And you guys get to listen into our conversation. So if you have anything that we didn't discuss, drop it in the comments. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, I only ask you that you follow us, totally free. Drop us a review and give us a, at least 5 stars. Tell everybody how amazing we are, and thank you.
We're amazing.
Yeah, man. So this has been the Grim Fix podcast. I am one of your hosts, David. I got JR and I got Charles in the house.
Oh, Nano.
Really?
Nano.
You just dropped that. Nano.
Till the next time, guys, stay safe.
I give you that one.
Nano.